Chicago is famously nicknamed the Windy City, but it has nothing to do with actual wind. Of course, it has to do with the hot air coming from politicians is usually how that got this particular nickname. But what if I told you that the real windy city in America is actually Amarillo, Texas? Now, this is taken with average annual wind speed, and Amarillo's is 12.9 miles per hour. And this is taken amongst all cities in America over population of over 100,000, which of course Chicago has several million, but Amarillo has a population of a little under 200,000 in the city proper, meaning that it is the real American windy city. Now, if we're talking about towns of realistically any size at all, America's windy city is actually Dodge City, Kansas, which is a population of about 25,000 in western Kansas. Dodge City is famous in Old West tales and Old West movies, and it's basically the cowboy capital of western Kansas and much of the Midwest and much of the Great Plains. Dodge City is on a flat plain, completely exposed. There's not really any native trees to the area, similar to Amarillo, but Dodge City actually has less as far as obstacles potentially blocking the wind in western Kansas versus a larger city such as Amarillo, whose airport is where the wind is measured is actually on the east side of the city, which means that much of the city's buildings do have something of a blocking deterrent on the wind, as measured at the Amarillo Airport, which is actually called Rick Husband International Airport, named after the Amarillo native who passed in the Space Shuttle Challenger explosion in the 1990s. Of course, the Challenger exploded more than once. First one being in 1986. Now, so Amarillo is the actual windy city when it comes to any city of over 100,000, or what would be considered a relatively mid-sized population center. But as far as city of any realistic size is concerned, the windy city in America is Dodge City, Kansas, made famous by Wyatt Earp in his stories as a somewhat semi-appointed lawman in Dodge City in the late 1800s to the early 1900s. And so Dodge City has that as claim to fame, but it is actually the real windy city in America. Also in competition for this particular title is Cheyenne, Wyoming, whose wind speeds are somewhere between the two. Now, Cheyenne has a little bit of a different physical geography. Cheyenne is relatively close to the Rocky Mountains, but their high winds come from what is called downslope, which is wind that comes downhill from the Rocky Mountains and actually has a warming effect on the city. So with an average wind speed of somewhere around 13 miles per hour, Cheyenne is next in line as far as a city of any size is concerned. Cheyenne, of course, does not have 100,000 people in the city proper. It does have 100,000 people in its surrounding county of Laramie County, Wyoming, which is a mark that it just reached in the past couple of years. The second highest wind speed of any larger city in the same category as Amarillo actually belongs to Rochester, Minnesota, for a variety of factors. So windy city number 2 is Rochester, Minnesota, with a population of about 125,000. And it outdoes the Twin Cities on account of a couple of factors. The Twin Cities does get high winds from northerly Arctic fronts, as does Rochester. But Rochester also gets southerly winds from the Great Plains that come up from the south. And so, which the Twin Cities does not really see much of this particular wind feature. And so Rochester is windy city number 2 amongst significant population centers. Of course, Rochester also has a second claim to fame, just like Dodge City does. And that, of course, being the Mayo Clinic, which is the first of basically the foremost medical center in the world. The Mayo Clinic has specialty expertise that's considered the best in the world in several different categories. This is an area where international dignitaries have come to obtain medical treatment. From all over the world, they come here. And fortunately, they're inside one of the Mayo Clinic's towers, and they're usually not subject to the wind, which probably wouldn't do very well for their healing. But that said, Rochester is number 2 amongst the major cities. But the windy city in America, as far as large population centers is concerned, as far as any city is concerned, the windy city is Dodge City, Kansas. And amongst larger population city, America's windy city is Amarillo, Texas. So with that said, this is a short one tonight. It was just one I thought of off the top of my head. Hope you enjoyed your hump day. 2 more days to go to the end of the week, folks. We'll see you on the flip side. We'll see you tomorrow night. It's been in the 20s and teens here in Minnesota, and I do not plan on stepping outside for the next 2 days. So I'll definitely be here, and I'll be here tomorrow night for the Thursday night edition, and we'll see you then, and peace out, homies.